I hate videos. Now, you may be wondering, if I hate videos, what the heck am I doing here? Woohoo! Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you are in the world today. If you and I haven't met yet, my name is Ingor van Roy, and I am recognized as a networking ninja. I help entrepreneurs and manufacturers develop a LinkedIn and social media strategy so that they can stand out and connect with their ideal community. So, what does that mean? I have a friend, his name is Jamie, and he's currently on ship. I interviewed him last week. He pointed something out to me. He pointed out that even though he had known me for a really long time and watched my shows, interacted with me, had calls with me, he still didn't know what exactly it is that I do to earn money. So let me explain a little bit about that. There are many people who are intimidated by networking, who are intimidated by showing up online. I was there too, and I want to be here for you. So, what I do is I help people to really show up online, to develop a strategy so that they can show up and connect and build that community that we all need. So if you need help with this, please reach out to me. I can definitely have a call with you and explore whether we can work together. My show is part of me building community because I get to spend an hour each Friday talking with my friends. That is really the highlight of my week. Today, I have an awesome guest that I'm so looking forward to having on my show. Him and I actually scheduled this show a long time ago, just to make sure that we both had space in our calendars. So I'm really looking forward to you getting to know my awesome guest, Joseph McGuire from across the pond. So without further ado, let me say hello to you, Joseph.
Hello, Ingor. Wonderful to see you again.
You as well. Thank you so much for really allowing me the honor of highlighting you today. It is my privilege to be able to have this conversation with you and introduce you to my community. So,
Thank you
welcome.
so much.
Thank you. Welcome. And, I'm just looking forward to getting to know you through your answers today. Before we continue, won't you please introduce yourself to the audience? Let them know who you are and what it is that you do.
Well, I'm Joseph McGuire. I'm based in Dublin, in Ireland, but the world is our oyster now, as we know. My business is called 𝐓𝐡𝐞 Communications, and the word 𝐓𝐶sight comes from the fact that I work primarily by reading people's faces, micro expressions, body language. So literally, there's so much information available about who we are, where we're at in our lives, where we've come from, and where we would like to be in terms of our personality, behavior, communication style, and so much more, literally visible in 𝐓𝐶sight. And I help people with negotiations. I help teams with their communication, because the fact that technically we're speaking the same language doesn't actually mean we're speaking the same language. And so often we speak from where we're coming from, and we often speak at people or across them rather than to them. And so often misunderstanding, miscommunication, and stress arises in relationships, both in our personal lives and in our professional lives. So I help teams with their communication, get the communication clear so they actually understand each other and so that they can work harmoniously together. And I will often work then with the leaders, the business owners, the business managers, CEOs, etc., to help ensure that they're getting their communication right for the team rather than, again, talking at them. Again, so that basically people operate in harmony together and they become productive and the business becomes profitable.
Love it. I love it. Thank you. We should actually do an example. But let's before we go into that, let's go to the studio audience and just read what it is that they have to say to all of us. So James says, Inga, looking forward to this. Thank you, James, for being here. Awesome to see you. And then good morning from Sugarland, Texas. Whitney Koch is there. She says, is the video play? Oh no. Okay. Just FYI, there is often a glitch when it comes to LinkedIn Live. So if you need to, please pop over to YouTube. Um, I'll drop the link in shortly, unless somebody already has. I'll just get through the comments. Whitney says, there we go. Okay, so she's able to watch the video. Then we have David Chrysler says, good morning, everyone. Um, I'm not sure if you've connected with any of these people in the comments, but I will say, if you haven't, you should. They are all amazing, and so are you. David is the king of process, and he is certainly good at that. My dog wants to say hello. Oh gosh, and I love to see amazing networking in the comments. So I love to see that. Please continue, guys. David says, let's see how long I can watch on LinkedIn today without glitching, right? It's going crazy. Oh, hello, Christina. Thank you for being here. Nice to see you. Thank you for tuning in. And Whitney says, Inga, I love this piece of art. Thank you. It's I don't think I told you before, but it's a scene set in, I think it's Long Street in Cape Town, South Africa. And my husband is the artist.
Wow, beautiful.
Thank you. James says, networking is life. I love to see people talking back and forth. So it's awesome. And then we have the manufacturing hype girl tuning in, Katie tuning in from Wisconsin. She says, good morning, everyone, and happy Friday. Nice. Good morning, Tim. Nice to see you here, my friend. Do you know Tim from the Global Team?
He's half of the Jim and Tim team, if I remember rightly, yes.
Yes, that's right. Oh my gosh. Katie says this is the highlight of my week too. Oh, Katie, so nice to see you here. And we have Gail.
Mhm.
She says, hello to some hardcore networkers here today. If you are new or lurking, start with hello. Yes, please. If you're watching and you haven't said hello yet, please do. Drop us a comment and let Joseph and I know where you're tuning in from. Let's see. Oh, the comments are on fire today. Tim says, is this a different background behind you, Inga? Yes, it is. I'm in a different space in my home. So yes, it is. Thank you, Tim. Oh my gosh, he's paging my goat. My goat is in the other room where I usually live stream. I'm sorry. And hello to you, Dirk Himan. Thank you so much for tuning in. Um, are you traveling or are you in South Africa? Let me know. And Katie says we are good on YouTube. So nice to see you guys. Oh my gosh. And Dave says, looks like we're headed over to YouTube. Oh my God. Yes, and there he's saying hello from YouTube. And thank you, Whitney, for populating the link. Yes, if you can't view it on LinkedIn, please go to YouTube. Oh my gosh. Let me see. Oh, Katie says she's in Scandinavia, Wisconsin, to be exact. Oh, my little helper went to get my goat. This is Gertie the goat. Oh my gosh. And I have my other friend here, my other furry friend wanting to say hello too. And hello to you, Sunil. Thank you for tuning in. Can you let us know where you're tuning in from, please? And just some networking. I love it. I love to see this. Okay, guys, let's head over to the questions. Since this is inspiration from Ingor, Joseph, let's start with the first question and ask you, what inspires you?
Oh wow, so many things. I just saw a young child's face there behind you, and one of
Say
the
hi.
one of the one of the most amazing things in life is to see a smiling face on a child, and to hear a child belly laughing. I mean that it doesn't get better than that, because that's just so utterly, it's just so pure. It's not spoiled by anything. It's and one of the treasured memories I have, the most treasured memories I have, is I was working as a therapist many years ago in the family home, and I was working upstairs. It was an evening appointment, and I heard my son. He was probably about 6 years old at the time, and I just heard him laughing and laughing and laughing. It didn't interfere with the treatment, because the client I was working with just was able to connect with the feeling, but my son just kept laughing. And it was when I after the session, I went and asked what had happened, and he had just watched the first episode of Mr. Bean. And so when I watched Mr. Bean later, I got it. But to hear that completely natural, unspoiled laughter, that's one of the most inspiring things in life. There's
It
so many
is.
more, but that's just one I so treasure.
It is. Wow, you just reminded me of my memories of Mr. Bean. I used to watch Mr. Bean when I was a kid, and I loved him. My brothers and I would watch him together, actually, and he was hilarious. Well, thank you. That's awesome. Um, okay, question number two. Let's see. When you were a child, who was your role model and why?
Yeah, it's probably, in retrospect, it's my father. I didn't necessarily always appreciate him at the time. So my role models were like probably people I saw on TV. Um, but it's in retrospect I can see that it was actually my father. We weren't so close when I was a child, but in retrospect I can see how much he influenced me, and what an amazing example he was for me in his bearing, in his character, the integrity with which he lived, the the humanity, the warmth, which again I didn't always appreciate as a child, but I saw it later. His warmth towards people, his willingness to go not just that extra mile, but that extra 10 miles for people, and put himself out, put himself at the service of other people. Um, the the wisdom that I had the opportunity when I was a teenager to do a summer, spend a summer working in the car assembly plant where he was a foreman. And when I saw the respect in which he was held, not just by his colleagues and not just by management, but by the guys who worked under him, because of his fairness, that really stayed with me. And his willingness to be, and his, not just his willingness to be, but his capacity to be fair with people, even when they were very much out of line. But to make it clear that there was a line, but at the same time not to come down really heavy on them, but to give another opportunity, provided they did what was required. So much of that has stayed with me, and yeah, if I'd had the wisdom when I was a child, I would have appreciated it more then. But it's those he has to be the main inspiration in my life. Absolutely.
I love that. Yes, our parents often play a vital role in our lives. And yes, I think you're not alone in not appreciating it while it was there, right? Um, but yeah, we do. The beauty of life is that we grow to understand and then respect them in our later years, especially as we get to interact with more people, and also as we you know fill the same shoes, right? In becoming
Hmm.
parents ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we grow in appreciation because now we get to know firsthand what it is that they needed to do in order to be the best version of themselves for us too.
Yeah, and in many cases they will have had it much harder than we do.
Yes, for sure, for sure. And I want to highlight something that you spoke about with your father, with him going the extra 10 miles. And, it is in giving that we receive, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, Joseph, we spoke a little bit about this at the before we went live. And for those that don't know, I didn't always have a life statement. I knew what I loved. I always known what I loved, and that is people. But about, let's say, probably about 2 years ago, I was interviewed by someone, and I remember him providing me with the questions prior to, because I was really nervous actually to go live. And one of his questions was, "What is your life statement?" And I loved it so much that I've incorporated it into mine, because sometimes we as people, we don't really think about it too much, but we do have guiding principles. We do have things that guide us in our everyday life. And for me, because of my love for people, I developed this life statement, which is to positively impact the lives of others. So, Joseph, what is your guiding principle, your life statement?
Yeah, there's a story I love, told by Winston Churchill's mother. When this goes back to when she was single before she was married, and she had the opportunity to meet William Gladstone and Benjamin Disraeli, who were two particularly prominent political figures. They both became prime minister in the UK back in the late 19th century. But she met Gladstone first, met him for dinner, and she said, after meeting Mr. Gladstone, I came away convinced that he was the smartest man in the country. But after meeting Mr. Disraeli, I came away feeling that I was the smartest lady in the room. And what I want, my abiding principle, if you like, is to leave people feeling better about themselves for having met me.
Wow. And we do, because
Thank
of
you.
your gift, we do. And not just that, but just the way that you interact with us. I know for myself, I can speak for myself and others who just love you. So yeah, we
Thank you.
do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's go over to the comments, and then we can make our way to the networking questions. Okay. Okay. Tim says, Gary says hi, Gertie. So, oh, Whitney says, show us the puppy. I'll show you later. They're running around. And our friend Russ Hedge is
Ah,
speaking in. Good
the
morning.
wonderful Russ.
Thank you, Russ, for being here. And Gail says, love that child, my Lana Banana. Lana is my 7-year-old. And she and Gail have a special relationship.
Wonderful.
When, whenever Lana hears that I'm on the phone with Gail, she doesn't even wait for me to stop talking. She just says, "Hi, Auntie Gail." And then Gail says, "Good morning." She says, "Oh my gosh, Mr. Bean is amazing." Yes.
Yeah, transcends all cultures.
Yes, he is. Oh my gosh. I have to read Whitney's comment to Gail. She says, "Mr. Bean keeps popping up this week. Several references on Twitter." And she says she loves Mr. Bean and Rowan Atkinson. Oh, Tim says, "Oh my gosh, we have been watching Mr. Bean lately as family. Our kiddos love it. Nothing like children's smiles. They are the best." Yes, they really are. Um, yes, actually, good question. So Whitney's asking, Tim, where are you watching? Is it on a streaming platform? I bet my son would find it funny. Yes, please let us know, Tim. I'd love to know where you're watching this. Oh my gosh, see. And Russ says laughter is so awesome. And 1,000 thanks to both of you for your amazing friendship. Inga and Joseph. Thank you, Russ.
Thank you, Russ.
To you. Yes, Tim is highlighting this. It is in giving that we receive. Yes. I'm laughing because of Russ's comment. Oh my God. He always teases me about how much I hate video. But we both definitely love people.
Yeah.
And then we have some teasing from Whitney because Russ loves manufacturing, right? And Sunil says he's from India. Nice to have you here. Thank you. Oh, this is for you. Go ahead and read it, please.
Yeah, it's from Whitney. I love that. Leave people feeling better about themselves for having met me. That's so powerful.
Yes, it is. It really is. Oh, okay. I think Russ was tagging some people into the comments.
Yeah.
Well,
We
thank
both
you,
know
Russ.
Scott. Yeah.
Scott and Joseph as well. Oh, sorry. I thought he was tagging another Joseph, but I guess it's you. Okay, let's move on to the networking side. So,
Yeah, if I can just quickly jump in there on the receiving bit. I came across a piece by Andrew Huberman on his podcast there recently about gratitude. And he said the most powerful gratitude practice is actually receiving gratitude. And that's a
wow.
challenge. That's a challenge for many of us to actually open ourselves to receiving, genuinely feel it and allow it in.
Yes, we don't, right? I'm just thinking about myself. Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't. I love to convey my gratitude to others, but
Yeah.
when they do, I don't necessarily just take it all in. Wow.
Yeah. It's a lesson for all of us.
Yeah. Thank you. Um, okay, so what is your take on networking? How do you approach it?
Yeah, networking is an essential part of life. The reality is we're all networking. We just don't tend to realize we put networking in a box, that networking is this formal thing where we're meeting people, whether it's on screen or we're going to a meeting. But we're all networking, through the day. We're whether it's with our family, friends, whether it's meeting people in a shop, a coffee shop, wherever it might be. It's all just engagement. It's just conversation. It's having a chat. It's building relationship, and whether that's a casual relationship or whether it's something that becomes deeper and deeper and becomes a friendship. It's just human to human connection. So for anybody who's reticent about it or feeling there's difficulty, there's something strange about it. It's just human beings talking to each other, sharing. And it's just a matter of showing up and being real, being honest, being open, not looking to, in a formal sense of formal networking. And we obviously met on the global tea break. It's not going on there with feeling that I have to do something, or I should be selling to somebody, or I should be buying from somebody. It's having an open conversation. And in a networking meeting, really the best advice I was given when I started networking many years ago was, if you can arrange, you can connect with somebody on the call and arrange to meet for a cup of coffee later, whether that's a virtual coffee or a coffee in person, and then expand the conversation and see where it goes. But just remember, it's just human beings being present with each other.
Yes, and going beyond that initial connection.
Yeah.
Because we want to connect with each other, not just on a superficial level, but really develop a relationship, get to know one another, right?
Yeah, and that's what more and more people are doing. It's interesting. I've noticed, and I'm sure you probably noticed it as well, Ingor, that since the world closed down, it's opened up in a different way. And what I'm finding is so many of the online conversations I'm having with people now, people are often more open about themselves and what's going on in their lives than they were when we were meeting person to person. So that's really been quite enriching.
Yes, that's so true. Um, I sent you a note. I'm not sure if you've seen it yet.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes.
Okay, so let's get through this, and then we have a special surprise if you stick with us for a little bit longer. There's a special surprise that Joseph and I have in store for you. So, Joseph, how has networking impacted you?
Oh, it's been massive. When I started networking, I was working as a holistic therapist at the time, and I saw what I was doing as my vocation. And then I actually started networking in a formal sense. So I started going to, you probably come across BNI, Business Network International. I'm not a member now, but I was for a time. So I joined there, and I felt like a complete fish out of water, because although so many of my clients were business people, they were coming to me from my service. So they were opening up their lives to me. And here I was going into an entirely different environment where I was meeting them as their professional selves. And I was there as my professional self. And I felt like I just didn't know where I was initially. So it was a complete life changer. So I felt, so for anybody who's listening, who finds it strange or stressful going into networking, I was that person. And I actually wrote down a list of questions, open-ended questions I could bring to a meeting so that I could actually engage in conversation with people, because I found it so uncomfortable doing small talk, and the regular bits and pieces that people talk about just to break the ice, and I didn't know how to do it. So I actually had this list of open-ended questions that people couldn't answer with a yes or no, that they had to give an expanded answer. So if you're stressed about going into a networking situation, do that. Write a list of open-ended questions that you can bring to it just to break the ice and get the conversation going. Do whatever you need to do, but go in there. So networking then just became a natural part of my life, and going in with curiosity about other people, rather than getting caught up in, oh, I'm nervous or I'm stressed, but just going in with curiosity, willingness to learn about other people, see who they are, where they're coming from, what interests them, what motivates them, all of that stuff. Not just what they do, but who's the person behind what they do.
Yes,
You know, yeah,
yes, I love that. Because we want to, I don't know, for me, I don't really care what somebody does. I want to know that person. I want to know their heart, right? That's what I like. And by the way, you said Gail's favorite word, curiosity.
yeah. Chief Curiosity Officer, of course.
Yes, yes. Okay, so when you network on LinkedIn, how do you do it?
Okay. Well, there's my own posts, which of late have been kind of intermittent. I've done a lot of videos more in more recent times. I was doing kind of blog posts, but I've sort of graduated to doing videos. And then when people comment, I engage with them. But then I've built up a network of people with whom I directly engage. And once I've commented on their posts for a while, I will usually reach out to them and look to arrange a Zoom call. If they haven't reached out to me, I'll reach out to them. And what I found is that that enables relationships to build. But it's actively engaging, not just my own posts, but other people's posts. And not just saying, oh, that's nice, or not just clicking like, but actually commenting constructively, or maybe sharing a post that I think would be of interest to them, or a piece of information that will be of interest to them, so that it shows them that I'm genuinely interested.
Hmm. Nice. So when I teach people how to network through social media, I have three principles that I speak about, which is connect, communicate, and collaborate. And you touched on all of them because, yes, like it's important to connect with people, but when you communicate, um, when you interact with their posts, engaging with them, when they comment on yours and you respond to their comments. Also, you said something really key, which is about video. Because if you don't know this yet, let me tell you guys that are watching, video allows somebody to see who you are on a deeper level. It conveys more than words, right? If you think about it, like when you're watching something, unless you have a really great imagination, watching something versus reading something, um, the watching really conveys the words and also the emotion behind the words, because we've all made that mistake when you get a text message and you read it and you say, what the heck? Like, but then the person didn't actually mean it that way. It was the tone of voice in your head that actually interpreted it that way. But with video, you can convey like much better your meaning behind what you're actually saying. So, meeting on Zoom and also posting videos helps people to get to know you on a deeper level. Um, so I love that. Thank you. And then collaborating is, you comment on somebody else's post, they comment on yours, and you interact with one another, right? And you never know what kind of relationship you can develop at a later stage. Like it can be it could be even working together, or it could be that you tag them in your post and they tag you in their post, so that your their audience and your audience gets to know the other person, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, before we go to our special surprise, who's excited about the special surprise? Drop us a comment and let us know. I want to have a look at the comments quickly. So Katie says she feels like she's the only one on YouTube. Well, Katie, you're not. I can see there's quite a few people on YouTube actually. So I know there are lurkers even on YouTube. And then Whitney is commenting. Can you go ahead and read her comment, please?
Yeah, it's a very, very appropriate comment. The pandemic kind of leveled the playing field in some ways. We realize we're all humans who struggle. Yeah, very, very, very true.
So true.
And yeah, and it did help in many ways to humanize us.
Yes, it did. It did. And she's also saying hi to Katie. She says she has it open just, oh my gosh, just in case LinkedIn decides to stop cooperating Whitney says small talk is the worst. Yeah, let's talk about deep, meaningful things. Yes. Yes, you use small talk just to open the conversation, but,
Yep.
yeah, it's good to go in a little bit deeper. Okay. So I see there are two people that are excited about our surprises. So maybe we have time to bring them both on. Katie and Whitney, won't you please come on? Um, we have a special surprise, but we'd like you to join us. Is that okay? Let me know.
Absolutely.
Katie and Whitney, let me know if that's okay with you, and I'll send you link to Ooh. While we wait for them to answer us, won't you tell us what is your superpower, Joseph?
My superpower is when I look at somebody's face, I can tell a huge amount about who they are, where they've come from, where they might be going, how they've been influenced by life's lessons, so much about their behavior, their communicate, their stress triggers, stress responses, a lot about their health because I actually learned to read faces as a diagnostic tool initially, and yeah, help them to identify their strengths often far more clearly than they have consciously done, and bring them more and more to the surface.
Awesome. Whitney, I've sent you a link. And Katie, I'm waiting for your answer. So I've sent you the link, Whitney, to join us. I know you did. So you did a presentation at the Global Tea Break in December, I think, right? Was it
It's
December?
quite a while ago. Yeah, it's quite a while ago.
Yes. And in that meeting, you made an offer for people to send you a message and send a picture of themselves so that you can look at their face and assess it. And I remember you sent me a few messages telling me about mine, and I was like, oh my God, what kind of magic is this? So, Whitney, I've sent you a DM with the link. If you can come in, and yes. Okay, Katie, she says she missed the question. So I asked you if you're excited, and you said excited is your middle name. And um, so Joseph's superpower is that he's able to look at your face and assess your face and tell you things about yourself that you didn't think people knew. So Katie, let me know if you'd like to come on. And then I just see Whitney is situating herself, so I'll wait for her. You can give me a thumbs up when you're ready. Okay. Okay, so Whitney is ready. I'm gonna bring her on screen. Hello.
Hey, good
Hello.
morning.
Hey, Whitney.
Whitney, meet
Hi.
Joseph.
Hi, so nice to
Joseph
meet you.
Whitney.
Great to meet you.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
We want to display Joseph's superpower.
Well, this is exciting.
So I over to you, Joseph. I'm just gonna situate you guys, and I'll mute myself. I want to hear about Whitney.
Okay. All right. Would you mind just removing your glasses for a moment, Whitney, please?
Okay. Well,
Just
now
let
I'm
me
blind,
see.
but sure.
That's okay. That's okay. I just need them off for a moment. I just want to see the full area of the eyes and across the cheeks and the bridge of the nose. Okay, that's good. If you want to put them back on again, that's fine. Thank you. Okay, I'm kind of like Columbo. You remember, Lieutenant Columbo from the old there's always one more thing. So, but there's always one more thing with the face. But several things come to mind. Number one, firstly, you're an expressive person. You're naturally very sociable. And by the way, I don't say nice things for the sake of it. I just tell you what I see. So I'm not just saying nice things. But you're naturally very sociable. You're naturally warm, and engaging with people is very, very important to how you are in life. It's just such a natural part of you expressing the real Whitney. So that's one thing. You're also naturally empathetic, so you feel deeply. So when other people are upset, stressed, etc., you feel it. Now, one challenge for you is to not automatically think it's down to you to fix it for other people. Okay, because you're naturally so empathetic, you feel deeply. But it's to recognize that there are situations where it's okay to step in and help, but there are situations where just back off and allow things to settle, and then maybe see how you can engage, but not to automatically step in. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, that I'm a fixer. Yep.
Yeah. But part of it is time. Part of it is timing, and sometimes things get so frazzled. Sometimes the tension gets so heightened that it's not a time to try to fix it. It needs to kind of, the energy needs to be diffused, and then part of the fixing. One of the things I've learned, and I had to learn it from experience. One of the big things in fixing is to ask people questions rather than automatically present them with solutions. And that's particularly a guy thing, because guys jump in and look to fix. So that's one of the things. You're naturally high energy. So, and particularly when it applies to your professional life, two things about that. The Chinese perspective is that everything contains the seeds of its opposite. So every strength can be a weakness, and vice versa. So the strength part of it is that you can just keep going, and you can keep going, and you have high standards. You have definitely very high standards. So you can keep going at a very high level, but it's to recognize that not everybody around you can keep going to that level, or will necessarily have the same standards.
Yeah.
And if you allow yourself to recognize it, it's being compassionate, not just towards them, but towards yourself. Because you can put yourself under pressure at times to do for them. Because you will kind of take up the slack when other people aren't really carrying things out to the level you would like to see. You will sometimes kind of take over and do it. But that's not doing you any favors. So being kind to yourself is one of the big lessons for you. And one other particular thing for the moment is to recognize your time is valuable. And sometimes you give too much of your time to other people, and they can take advantage of it. But you have an inbuilt, let's say, I was going to say thermostat, but thermostat doesn't relate to time. But you have like an inbuilt clock that tells you this meeting is done now. But because you're naturally compassionate, you can tend to just stay there, even though you know it's not serving any great purpose, and it's probably taking from you. So just pay attention to that one for your own sake, because it can leave you drained, and it just isn't serving you to the highest effect. Does that make sense?
Yes, totally.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. That was amazing.
Thank you, Whitney. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Whitney. I'll remove you from screen and you can go back to viewing.
Thank
care.
you.
You're welcome. Be blessed. Okay, we have one more person, and we'll see if there's time for one more. I see Gail is also excited.
I'm curious.
Yes, and curious, and if she's still on the show. Katie, meet Joseph. Katie.
Hey, Katie.
Over to
Hi.
you, Joseph.
Hey,
Can you guys
how
hear
are
me?
you? Absolutely. Yep.
Okay,
Loud
good.
and clear.
I had me on mute earlier, so I want to check. I want to say I agree with everything you said about Whitney. I know Whitney pretty well, I think, and I agree 100%.
Okay. Well, glad I got it right, especially when it's live on screen.
Yeah.
Okay, right. You are one very determined lady. You've a very, and again, I don't say nice things for the sake of it. You've got a very strong personality, and you prefer to be straight to the point with people. You don't like BS for a start, and you don't like people who are just kind of, we would say here, wishy-washy, or maybe this, maybe that. You like people to make decisions, make their mind up, and it's not a case of being aggressive about it, but that's what you do. That's who you are. So you're well able to make decisions, very well able to make decisions, and you like to not just make decisions, but you take action, because for you, action follows decision. And again, if people are kind of saying, "Oh yeah, that's a great idea," and then they're talking about it, that doesn't work for you. Absolutely not. So, so part of your challenge is being clear with people, but also recognizing that sometimes they need a push, but sometimes you need to pull them gently, and it's to get that balance right, because sometimes you will push and get a reaction that they're not really on board with you. So sometimes it's just to recognize the difference, and which people need a pull and which people need a push, and at what time. But you're smart enough to get that. You're smart enough to be able to discern that. And you also, one of the things about your face shape, the particular face shape you have gives off like an unconscious vibe of leadership qualities. So people will associate you with, this is 𝐏𝐿𝐼, and 𝐏𝐿𝐼 gets things done. So if you want something done and you want it done properly, give it to 𝐏𝐿𝐼. So you can, so when you're confident and you're relaxed in yourself, you just can give off that vibe to people without having to say anything.
Aww.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it makes sense. Thank you. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow. Yeah, Joseph, like I know both of these ladies. Who you wow. Gail, are you still watching? If you're still watching, let me know if you want to come on. I sent a DM. Let me see. Oh, we have John. John is here. Hello, my brother. Thank you for being here, John Martinez.
John 𝐏𝐿𝐼?
No, John Martinez.
Oh.
He says, "Love you, sis." He's from Chile. He's one of my too hot people. So, hold on. I saw. Okay. Gail says she wants to come on. So thank you, Katie, for coming and being.
Thank you, 𝐏𝐿𝐼.
Thanks, Joseph. Thanks, Ingor.
Awesome. You're welcome. I was so excited because I saw that we were like not really approaching the hour yet. So. Okay, I will remove you. Thank you, Katie. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
And hello, Gail.
Hello, Gail.
How's it going? Gail? Can you hear us?
Bill C-51. This happened
Can you hear?
a couple of events which took
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Are you here? Like, are you watching on another screen?
was like the Patriot Act in the U.S. in 2000.
Can you hear me?
Just rammed
Yes, we can.
Okay, I got to shut something else down here. That's, there we are.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I had, I'm still in my post-workout gear too, so.
Well,
Cool.
Whitney says she loves your curls today. Oh my gosh. And hold on. Katie says none of us were expecting to be on camera, but you looked lovely.
Fame at last.
Oh gosh. Okay, over to you, Joseph. I'm going to mute myself.
Okay, well, I don't normally talk about people's hair, but I particularly obviously can't. I don't have much to say on the personal front. But when you see red hair like that, it tells you that this is somebody who's naturally very passionate, and that applies across the board. Even young children with red hair, naturally passionate. So passionate about life. And when you have red hair like that, you need to be able to express that passion. You need to be able to express strong emotion in what you do. You need to express your creativity, your enjoyment of things. So if you're in a situation where you're kind of hemmed in and restricted, and people telling you, settle down, calm down, no, that's not for Gail. And even as a child, that would not have been for Gail. Doesn't suit you at all. And also, when you see if the hair is naturally curly like that, that also relates to our intestines. So great intestinal strength. So like on a physiological level, which is very, very important as well, because it's often the foundation of energy and well-being. So that's an important thing, but also in terms of our gut feeling. So it tells me that you're naturally, when you're taking care of yourself, you are naturally somebody who has very strong intuition. So make sure you're really cultivating it. So when you get a strong gut feeling, and to clarify that, what I mean by that is when our gut feeling is right, when it's accurate, there's a feeling, it's almost like we're outside of space and time. It's very peaceful. It's entirely peaceful, and it almost like it permeates our whole body. It's just a feeling of complete ease, and that's right. So when you get that feeling, make sure you go with it. Never, never, ever second guess it. And you will know what I mean by that. And there have been occasions in your past where you have second guessed yourself, and it has led to disappointment. So make sure you pay very close attention to that one. You're also naturally very creative. Excuse me. And your creativity needs to be expressed not just in your work, but in your personal life, in some kind of, I don't know what your personal interests are or your hobbies are, but you need, and I emphasize the word need, you need to be doing something creative for yourself, for the pleasure of doing it, because that will nurture your spirit, that will nurture your emotions, it will nurture you mentally and physically as well. And so again, you don't always do it. So again, pay attention to it. Make sure you are doing things purely for the pleasure of expressing Gail for Gail, not just for other people. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Especially they never do, don't always do it. Wow, that is. Yeah, I kind of got like this chill. Ingrid's smiling too, because she knows Ingrid is someone who knows me very well. So I think, yeah. Wow, Joseph, that is.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Thank you so much. And Ingrid, this is amazing show, and excited because we're all connected on Global Tea Break as well. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Yes, and if you're watching and you haven't come to the Global Tea Break yet, you're missing out. Come and join us. Come join us. I will definitely share when it's happening again, and then please come. It's open to it's open to everyone. I'm laughing because Katie says facial readings every Friday.
If I can add one thing, there's something you said, Joseph, that really hit home, is that because my background is being Scottish, I've got my blinds open, it feels very bright. And sometimes I find it hard to do things just for like pleasure, like without, like even sometimes if I'm getting better at this. Sometimes if I'm watching a show, I feel like, oh, I better fold laundry or do something instead of just enjoying. So that really struck home because I'm really working on that. So
yeah, and it's important because it's not slacking. It's not like if you do things for the pleasure, it's not being lazy. It's to recharge.
Yeah.
so that you can continue to do at a very high level. So if you give yourself that message, that this is an essential part of your maintenance, then it's
Wow.
easier for you to take it on board.
Very true. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ingor, for allowing
Pleasure.
me to come on.
You're welcome. And I have somebody that's watching us in the, but they can't come on screen. Would you mind if I shared a picture of them, Joseph?
Sure, absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you, Gail. I'm going to
Okay,
remove
thanks. Have a great
Thank you.
weekend, everybody.
You too. Thank
you. You're
you.
welcome.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. Let me see. Okay. I'm just going to open. There's a picture that he sent me. So I need to open it. Give me 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm laughing at myself. Oh gosh. Okay. This is John. He's in Chile and he's actually working right now.
Okay.
So he asked me if he can send a picture instead of coming on screen. So
Sure. Okay. All right. Well, I just say a couple of things here. You notice John has very dark, thick eyebrows, and most of the eyebrow is quite straight. So a couple of things about that. The eyebrows, like even when people were going around wearing masks, you could see their eyebrows, and the eyebrows tell us a lot about how people, particularly how people process and absorb information. So when you see somebody with thick eyebrows like that, they like, if you're telling them something, if you're making a proposal to them, like you to sell them something, they like to have all the information. So if they feel, and I emphasize the word feel, if they feel you're holding back on the information, they're going to doubt what you're telling them. So you need to make sure you're giving them all the information. And the next thing then is, you notice that the eyebrows are quite straight. So when the eyebrows are straight like that, and this applies whether you're talking to a man or a woman, you need to give them the information in a logical sequence. If you're jumping around from A to D to G to M and back again, to them it's just chaos, and they're just going to shut down quickly. Equally, if you're talking in very abstract terms, it doesn't work well for them. So keep the information logical and factual, and they will appreciate that. So that's the first thing. The second thing is he's a long nose and very well developed nose. So again, naturally very expressive individual. And the nose is actually quite straight. So for him, his integrity is very important. His values are very important. So if somebody questions his values, he doesn't like it, because to him, his values are absolutely solidly embedded. He knows his values. And one other particular thing for the moment, you notice the outer corners of the eyes kind of turn down like that. So he has a distinct sense of helping people who are in need. And I don't necessarily mean people who are in dire poverty, but people, if he sees somebody around him who needs support, he automatically gravitates towards helping them.
Wow. Yes. 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 Spot on, Joseph. Are you done? I'm sorry, I just interrupted you because I'm just blown away.
Yeah. Well, that's the immediate stuff there. You can see he's got big eyes there. So again, he's a heart on sleeve kind of guy. So he feels very deeply. He's got that, like I talked about the eyebrows. He's got that very logical mindset, but he also feels very deeply. And because he's very capable in terms of dealing with the factual stuff of life, people can underestimate how deeply he feels and how sensitive he is. So that's something for him to be aware of, that people may take it for granted that he's just a facts and figures and details guy. And that side, the feeling side of him may at times be neglected to his own detriment. So that wouldn't serve him.
Mm. Wow, thank you. Thank you. I do see that there's one more person. I don't know if they do you have a few minutes more to
Yeah,
is there
sure.
one more person? Dave Chrysler, King of Process, would you like to come on screen? I'm going to remove this. Thank you. Wow. Like, so all of these people are my friends and I know them. I know, and I know them on a deeper level. So like for me, like it's amazing to witness your gift. I mean, I've witnessed it before. I even attended one of your courses. And guys, just, if you're interested in something like this, if you're interested in learning more about what Joseph does, he does teach courses every now and then. He doesn't have one right now, but and he usually does them live, which is amazing because you get to ask him questions, interact with him, and from my perspective, they don't cost that much. Um, and also, Joseph has a book. So while I'm waiting, Dave Chrysler, please let me know if you'd like to come on. Joseph has a book, everyone, and I'm going to put it up on screen so that if anybody would like to purchase his book, you may do so. That is a link to his book. So, yes, please. I'll just send Dave. Hold on. Let me see. Oh, yes, he says yes. Sure, send me the link. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to mute myself and send him the link.
Okay. And I should say that I will have some workshops, initially one-off workshops coming up early in the new year, which will be on the topic of relationship. And that's the topic male-female relationship, intimate relationship, dating, and all of that. So I will be announcing details of those fairly soon.
Just unmuting myself because say that again, please.
Yes, there will be a number of workshops, initially one-off workshops, but probably going to develop into something more detailed, where we'll be talking about relationship, the world of dating and male-female relationship. I'm not competent to teach people who are in same-sex relationships, although I know many who are. But I've got probably far more female than male friends. And so many of my female friends over the years have had negative or often horrendous experiences with guys, where to me, guys are straightforward. Guys are an easy read.
Are they, Gail? I can see your face, Gail. Are they?
So well, for me they are. For me they are. So part of what I want to do is help women to recognize red flags, both in whether in their facial features, their expressions, their body language, or how they speak, not simply in what they say, and then also to recognize who are the real guys, the ones worth pursuing.
Please, I want to go. So I want to go. Let me know when this workshop is happening because
Absolutely.
yes, I've been married for almost 17 years, but sometimes I'm still caught off guard. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
Definitely beneficial. I see our friend Dave is here, so I'm gonna bring you on screen, Dave, and you may need to remove your cap.
That's fine. Good morning, everybody. Good morning,
Dave.
Ingor. Good morning, Joseph. This has been fun so far. So
Great.
I'm interested to see what happens.
Well, hopefully you'll still be smiling at the end of it.
I love it.
Okay. If you wouldn't mind removing the cap, Dave, please.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay. One of the first things we notice with Dave is that the forehead curves back very nicely here at the top. So when you see that on somebody, it tells you that he's not somebody who fits into a box or wants to be fitted into a box. He needs to be allowed to express his creative mind. So that is an essential. That's like a non-negotiable. I don't know what work you've done in the past, Dave, or if you've worked for other people, or what your situation is in that regard. But if anybody tells you that this is how we do it, this is the way we've always done it, this is the way we're always going to do it, it just doesn't work for you, because you are naturally somebody who's going to have a lot of ideas, and it's not that they're all going to work, but you're going to have a lot of ideas. So you will see a given system or a given process, and you'll say, yeah, if we did this, or if we did that, if we could tweak it this way. Because once you see a system or a process, automatically the creative wheels start whirring around. Now, one of your challenges there is that at times you can have so many ideas that quality control can be an issue. So you need to have, you would be advised to have somebody you trust, whose judgment you trust, to bounce things off and to be able to discern which are the great ideas and which ones are maybe not worth pursuing, or maybe not worth pursuing right now. Because you can get you're naturally enthusiastic, you're naturally energetic, so you can get very enthusiastic and caught up in, well, this is a great idea, this new idea, and it's like the the next bright shiny object kind of thing sometimes. Not all the time by any means, because some of your ideas are going to be absolutely outstanding, but it's to recognize which are the real nuggets. So that's one particular thing that jumps out there. Also with you, your time is valuable. Your time, and you know it. So when you're going into a meeting, if you haven't outlined it, or if you haven't made it very clear going into the meeting, you should start doing it. And I don't use the word should lightly here. Make sure when you're going into a meeting, you know why you're there, you know how long you're going to be there, that there's a call to action at the end of the meeting, or an agreement of some description, and that there's an accountability element to it. Those are essential elements for you at the meeting. And it's important that you express that before going in, to have the confidence in yourself going into a meeting, that you make sure that is a clear understanding before you go in. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it's pretty wild and spot on for sure.
Yeah. Because again, you're naturally empathetic and compassionate, and you can give too much of yourself. So at times it's to recognize, and there is a pattern there of giving too much of yourself and too much time and too much energy, and at times doing things for people that they really could and should be doing for themselves, which isn't actually helping them, and it's draining you.
Yeah. Wow.
So watch that one. And sometimes, rather than, because you're naturally so full of ideas, your tendency will be to give your ideas, to give your suggestions, to give your recommendations. But sometimes it's better not to do that and to just ask questions instead. To hold back on the ideas, ask them questions so that you get more information from them, and so that you don't encourage them to be lazy.
Wow. That was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, Ingor, what do you think? Is that close to pretty spot on, or what?
Yeah. And this is why, like, Joseph is my friend. Because not because of what he does, but he does it with so much integrity and heart.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, just amazing. Thanks so much, Joseph.
My pleasure, Dave.
Amazing ability that you, an amazing superpower that you have right there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Ingor.
My pleasure. Wow.
Well, that's the fun thing, That's the fun bit, and that's, again, it comes back to that what is networking? Networking is connecting. Networking is building relationship,
Yes.
and it's sharing. For me, anyway, it's sharing the best of who we are at that time.
Yes. I I was like wondering whether I should let you assess my face during this or not. Like, how much do I want people to know about me? But if you have anything that you want to talk, like that you want to look at and say, please feel free. Otherwise, we can wrap up.
Yeah, just one thing, and I'll keep it very brief and general here, because like we know each other, we're friends, and I do have a preference when it comes to friends and family of not really getting into anything, anything too deep. I learned that a long time ago when I learned this as a diagnostic tool initially from Oriental medicine, and when I was still very much a student, I was visiting my parents in their home. I was living in London, and I visited my parents in their home in Dublin, and I saw a heart condition on my father's face before it was diagnosed.
Wow.
And I was immature enough to mention it, and it just caused a strange feeling in the family. Like my mother, for quite some time afterwards, would ask me anytime I'd meet her, okay, what do you see on my face? Assuming I would see an illness. And it was a horrible kind of feeling. So I just prefer not to go there unless I see something really of concern. But just one particular thing in your case, you're naturally hugely, hugely compassionate, and sometimes overly so. So just to watch that for your own sake, that you're not simply emptying yourself when you're not being replenished.
Yes, you know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know that's why I haven't been well, because that's what I'm doing. What I have been doing, but I'm really, trying to be cognizant of that now. And really working on doing things that bring me joy, that replenish that energy, that compassion that I give out.
Yeah.
So thank you. Wow. Joseph, I could go on and talk to you forever, but I want to be cognizant of your time. What are your final thoughts for our viewers? And also, where can they find you?
Okay, the easiest place to find me is on LinkedIn. I'm most active there. I do have a Facebook presence, but I'm most active on LinkedIn. My website is, you can see there, 𝐓𝐡𝐞 but I'm a little, shall we say, a little behind the times in updating it and putting my current information there. So LinkedIn is the best place to get to me. Really, for me, it's connecting with people is essential. Really, what the purpose for me of doing anything that I do is to help people create exceptional relationships, and that starts on the inside. And it's essential, to pick up on Gail's word, it's essential to be curious about people. It's essential that we're willing to show up the best of ourselves at the time, and sometimes that means we're not feeling great, but we show up with the best of ourselves, not to put ourselves under pressure to be perfect, because none of us is, other than we're perfectly ourselves as we are at the time, but we're not perfect in that, big sort of very, very sort of high state where everything is 100%, and it's not to try to be, but to the best of it, bring the best of ourselves to the engagement, to be willing to be curious, be willing to listen, because one of the primary needs for us as human beings is to feel we have been heard, to feel we have been listened to. So if we're willing to listen to the other people, it creates a bond, it creates a bridge.
Yes.
And then it's about opening to each other. And I'm not talking about being foolish, because there are people there we're better off not engaging with. So it's a case of being discerning as well. But when we're willing to listen, we can learn so much about who the other person is, and they will so often feel better for being listened to. And you'd be surprised when you really listen to somebody else, how often they will tell you what a wonderful person you are. Curious one, but that's the way it works.
Yes, it certainly is. Well, thank you, Joseph. It has
Thank
been
you.
an amazing hour and 15 minutes. I'm so glad that, I invited you to be on here and to share your gift with the world. So, again, if you're interested in getting Joseph's book, you can go on his website. The link is scrolling in the comments, on our screen. Check it out. And I think, Joseph, your book is also available on Kindle. Is
It
that
is indeed. Absolutely. Yeah.
so? It's also available on Kindle. If you'd like to grab it there instead of an actual book, you can do that too on Amazon. Um, Amazing. Please keep me apprised of the course. I want to be there. Um, you are amazing, and I really appreciate you. If you don't mind, I'll send you the green room while I wrap up, and I'll be with you shortly.
Thank you, Ingor.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Wow, if you're still watching, this has been a one of a kind show for sure. Definitely have a look at the link scrolling at the bottom of my screen if you'd like to check out Joseph's book. Um, and let me have a look at a few comments that have come across while we were talking. Um, Katie, the manufacturing hype girl, says, I will want that workshop info. So, yes, we'll go together, Katie. Whitney says, the book and workshop sound fascinating. Gail says, this has definitely been fun and illuminating. Love it. Thank you. I'm so happy that you were able to be here, Gail. Whitney says, Joseph said the keyword process. Yes, when he was talking to Dave, I was like, ding, 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 ding. Because Dave is the king of process. We all call him that. And Katie I think she was referring to when you were talking to Dave, she said, this is eerie. Yeah, it does seem eerie. But it is an art form actually. I've read a little bit about what Joseph does, and wow, 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 wow. Um, she says, why, Gail says, why, how, call to action plan for meetings. Wowza. That is likely good advice for all of us. Yes, right? It certainly is. And Whitney is agreeing with Gail. She says, yes, we all need that. And David Chrysler is indeed naturally empathetic. Yes. Yes, if you didn't notice, we all know each other. So we knew that Joseph was spot on. Um, Whitney said, it must be amazing to be able to read people like this, Joseph. And honestly, actually, Joseph does this for a living. He actually, I heard him tell of a story where he went to a meeting and it was undercover, and he was able to read on people's faces what they were not saying. So yeah, Joseph, my word, like when I think about your gift, I actually get goosebumps. Um, you're amazing. And Katie agrees with me. She says yes. And Whitney says, wow, I can't believe you could see an illness on someone's face. Yes, I know, right? And Whitney also says, such a neat experience. Thank you, Joseph. Yes, thank you, Joseph. Wow. I feel like I just want to talk to you all the time. Oh, my word. You were amazing. And, if you are interested in connecting with me, send me a connection request. I'd love to just connect and talk, get to know each other on a deeper level, not superficial. So once again, if you didn't watch at the beginning, my name is Ingor, the Networking Ninja, and I help people develop a strategy so that they can stand out and connect with their ideal community, whether it is somebody that you want to be friends with or someone that you're looking to do business with. I can help you with that. It has been an amazing show. I can go on and on, but thank you again to you, Joseph, for being here, for being part of this community. You are amazing. And thank you to you if you're still watching live. Know that I appreciate you all, and I look forward to seeing you here next week for another episode of Inspiration from Inga. You know, you are my friends, and for me, it is such a privilege and an honor to be able to spend this time with you. So, see you next week. Take care and be blessed. Bye for now. Bye bye.